All right, we are live. What's going on? We got a whole new setup here. I got my little Larry King microphone, and we got the Hot Toys Darth Vader joining us, the brand new Empire Strikes Back one. We got a Mezco Captain America. I don't know, Labor Day. I should have had this out for Memorial Day, but we weren't doing this back then. And we'll be touching on the new Thundercats line. How's it going, everybody? I'm Rob Banks. I'm joined by Baz. Baz is back with us.
Yo, what's up, people? You missed me last week, right? Yeah.
The connection's a little messed up because we're in a little bit of a transitional period as far as Baz goes, but don't worry, we will be 100% in the coming weeks. We're trying to update and obviously improve. We got the mic going this week and everything else. And
I'm moving to Miami, yo.
Oh boy, big time move, man.
Florida.
Man, you've moved around before.
Nevada. I spent some time in Nevada and some time in New Orleans.
That's
Louisiana.
I didn't even know that. New Orleans, damn.
Yo, I couldn't breathe there, man. Could not breathe. It's so humid.
Like crazy.
Oof, terrible.
Unfreaking believable. Anyways, if you guys are watching now's the time to invite people. We have one viewer in the room. We want to keep this ball rolling real quick because when we put this back up on Facebook later or YouTube, and the people come and they watch afterwards, I don't want them to be bored by the first 3 minutes, which they usually are anyway. So now's the time to give a share and everything else if you guys even care. Okay.
You know, I usually like when I watch videos, I like going into the topics right away. Like I hate like the beginning music when people have music, or they talk about technical stuff or like bullshit.
Your volume dropped out big time on that right there.
Really?
Yeah, now we're getting a lot of scratchiness, a lot of crackles, and all that other stuff.
What about now?
Now you're good.
Okay, cool.
All right, so then let's go right into the topics. As a matter of fact, the reason why I started getting into with my videos, the intros, is that I was, a few people contacted me and they were like, "Oh, you need to have like a cool intro to bring us in," and I'm like, "Yeah, the cool intro works, but only for like the first like maybe 2 or 3 times you watch a video from somebody, and then it's like, all right, skip."
Yeah, nobody gives a shit. Come on, man. This ain't the '80s with '80s sitcoms and their intro theme songs and shit. Come on.
Okay.
2018, baby.
It's been long. We're 3 minutes into this. Let's get into the topics of the week. If you get a chance, share the live stream, and we're going to start it off by saying happy birthday to somebody. We've been starting these shows with a lot of morbidness and death and stuff like that, so that's not good. So we're moving away from the RIPs this week, and we're coming in with a celebration of someone who actually happens to be dead. Happy birthday this week, 101 years old, Jack Kirby.
Yes, the king.
The king. If you guys don't know who Jack Kirby is, you really need to go and understand how this guy pretty much created everything you like. He's a creator.
Yes, for those in the know, for those who are woke, per se, Jack Kirby is the true architect of the Marvel Universe.
Hi, how's it going? My name's Jack Kirby, and I created Stan Lee. Nothing against Stan Lee. Whatever, he's cool too. But Jack Kirby is the king, and we wanted to wish him a happy birthday. As a matter of fact, while it's on the other side of the room, I was just drinking coffee out of my Captain America Jack Kirby cup for tonight.
Nice.
And I ran out of coffee, so I just put it over there. Anyways, what is your favorite Jack Kirby creation and or comic?
I was going to ask you that. Nice. You know the answer to this. Just answer it for me.
I'm going to answer for you and say the New Gods.
Yes, you win. Nothing. But yeah, definitely. I mean,
Jack Kirby created Darkseid, correct?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he is the creator.
What did he create?
I know. This guy created everything, for Christ's sakes. It is what it is. But he did create the second coolest villain in the DC universe next to the Joker. I happen to like Darkseid just a little bit better than the Joker, but
well, look, he created Magneto too, one of the greatest villains of all time.
Who created Magneto?
Kirby.
Jack Kirby created Magneto. Jack Kirby created the X-Men too, right?
Created the X-Men, yeah. So that's Jesus. Magneto. Yeah.
I was gonna say my favorite Jack Kirby creation because look, he created everything, right? So I'm gonna probably say that like my favorite Jack Kirby creation is probably in my head, not being well versed into everything he's done. Is probably incorrect. But when I think of Jack Kirby, I think of old school Fantastic Four. especially that run he had with the Silver Surfer and Galactus. You know, but when I think of Kirby, the first image that pops in my head is I think Fantastic Four number. I believe it was 49, if this be Doomsday, and like Galactus is shooting the beams, and all the Fantastic Four is kind of like, you know, in the foreground, like getting blasted. Kirby was, I didn't have an appreciation for Kirby when I was younger. I'm talking younger, like, you know, 8, 9, 10 years old. It just seemed old. At this time, comics were getting into that when Image came around, they started printing their paper on like high gloss. You know, so all the old comics kind of felt like old newspaper print, which is kind of what it was. So I never had an appreciation of that type of stuff. But I think I got to go back now that we're in a digital age and kind of go through all the Kirby stories and catch them on like an app on the phone or something. I'm kind of hoping that Marvel eventually gets to the point with, I don't know about a streaming service, because obviously they're going to be involved with the DC streaming service, but they should get their own Marvel reader where you can read all the old issues. And I know you got stuff like Comicsology and things like that, but the DC reader that's included with their monthly subscription is I'm hearing great things about. So I'm hoping Marvel eventually gets the same kind of is able to do the same kind
They
of
have
thing.
Marvel. I think it's called Marvel Unlimited.
Oh, they have their own thing where you can read all the back issues? Oh, I'm going to have to probably get that. I wonder if that's available for Apple, because I rock the Apple.
Yeah.
You know. But I don't know if it's an Android thing or an Apple thing. Anyways,
I have Comicsology, so I'm able to read Marvel, DC, Image, whatever. I don't want to be just shoehorned into just reading Marvel.
Is Comicsology, is that limited to is Comicsology limited to just certain titles? Like, is everything available?
I don't know what they have access to. I mean, they have a lot of X-Men on there. They have a lot of people. I don't know what they're limited to using, though. I don't know how that works.
Right.
But you get all the new. You could buy comics on there too. You know, so you get all the new releases. But there's Comicsology Unlimited, which is, you know, they have Indies, they have DC, they have Image, they have Marvel, Dynamite, all the different companies.
That's awesome.
But I think Marvel, you're able to access like every back issue, though. You know what I mean? There's a selection on Comicsology, and on Marvel, I think they have everything.
They probably have like their whole library.
Exactly.
Okay, well, his birthday was on Tuesday, so he died in '94. So he died a very long time ago. You know, he was an old dude. I think he was in his 40s when he started creating this stuff, right?
He might have been actually 50.
Wow, could you imagine that? Like,
no, I think that's when he broke with Marvel in his 50s.
When he broke off. Well, regardless,
when he got big.
When he got big with them. Okay, so let's say he was doing this between his 40s and 50s. Could you imagine you go through your whole life? You're supposed to be starting your career. Most people start their career in their 20s. This guy's like has a career. I don't know what he's doing up until that point. And then
hold on, because he was doing Captain America like during World War II, right? Like, because he created Captain America with Joe Simon.
Oh, okay. So that means he was doing Captain America back in... Wait, Captain America didn't... No, the Avengers came out in 63 or 64. Captain America, though, was around back in the World War II era, right? Like, he was one of Marvel's earliest heroes.
Well, Marvel didn't even exist. It was like Timely or something. No, Marvel didn't even exist around that time.
So he was doing Captain America basically even like around that time. Unbelievable.
But he also served, too, in World War II, so I don't know how the timeline works, but he created Captain America with Joe Simon. I know that.
That's unfrequent. There's another big time legend as well. Oh, so
say that he had a hand in creating Spider-Man.
Who, Kirby?
And he did draw the first appearance of the cover of Amazing Fantasy number 15.
Is that when he's? Oh no, that's when he's swinging, right?
Yeah.
That's Kirby doing that art.
That's Kirby, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But from what I've read is that he came up with the name Spider-Man, ran it by Stan Lee, drew up some drafts of his version of it, and Stan Lee didn't like his version, decided to give it to Ditko.
Right.
And then
Okay.
Ditko fleshed out everything, made the costume, and created everything from there.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Kind of reminds me of the who's my man, Bill Finger situation with Bob Kane. I know that
Yeah, yeah.
Bob Kane has a lot of things in common with Stan Lee. For those that aren't in the know, back in the day, it was a little different. It was a different business. It was kind of cutthroat, and you kind of just put your name on things, and that's
people were taking credit for things they didn't do.
exactly. That was like part of the business back then, so you can't really fault it. But you wouldn't have all these things if it wasn't for this dude. So big props to him. I want to keep it moving, though. Unfortunately, Mr. Kirby, we have to keep the show must go on. So happy birthday to you, and maybe if we're doing this next year at this time, we'll have.
Well, real quick, the way I got into Kirby was around when he died, around 93, 94. Well, he died in 94, right? It was a dedicated episode to him done by Bruce Timm and Paul Dini when they did the Superman Adventures, the cartoon.
Yeah.
And it was a New Gods two-parter. So, I got into Jack Kirby through the Superman animated cartoon, and then I did research. Yeah, because Bruce Timm was a big Jack Kirby fan. Was influenced by Kirby. I mean, if you notice, his character models are kind of blocky,
yes,
and square, kind of like Kirby's are.
Yeah,
and then I picked up the New Gods graphic novel, and I read that, and that was all him. That was all the story and the art was all credited to him, and I was so amazed by how great it was, So and then I became a huge fan from there. So happy birthday, Kirby!
Nice, awesome, man. Yeah. I'm still, like I said before, I'm still waiting on my first Kirby story, like 100% wise. Like I said, I got to get into the digital age now because you ain't getting these comics anywhere else. But I appreciate his art. I think it's great now. When I was a kid, like I said before, I wasn't that crazy about it. But now his art just seems to pop off the page. And it's it's an acquired taste because a lot of artists now, like, look, the art is better nowadays. Like comic book artists nowadays draw better than the people of from back in the day. That's just the way it is. But bodybuilders are stronger, football players are faster, so on and so forth. So the comic artists are kind of greater. But just because something is cleaner and looks nicer doesn't mean it has the same type of feeling when you actually see it. The power of the image. We had conversations about Kiss back in the not back in the day, just not so recently. When you hear Ace Frehley play. And it's a it's a little bit sloppier, but more feeling behind his play than a guy like, let's say, Bruce Kulick, who's clean and he's amazing. But it just, there's something so raw and dirty about the way Ace Frehley plays that it kind of has like that special something there.
Yeah,
I think of the art across art is the same way, So
his art it was never looked stiff at all.
Yeah, no,
his characters always looked in motion.
His characters were always kind of moving. Dan on the chat just said it has personality, and that's the best way to say it, is that an piece of artwork could be clean and look beautiful, but not necessarily have the personality that someone like Kirby has,
Right.
And his artwork is just so, it's him. It's not, this guy is good, but he was influenced by this guy. Or you could see this guy was influenced by that guy. Like take a Greg Capullo, for instance. He has a slight McFarlane-esque way about him, which is why I'm guessing they had him take over for Spawn back in the day. And you can see the influences there. Now I like Capullo's art. I think it's great. But with Kirby, there's no one that does it like Kirby, because Kirby was the first one doing it.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like there's no better way to say it other than that. All right.
This big style, yeah.
Moving on from Jack Kirby, I want to just throw this in there real quick. Alec Baldwin, it was to play Thomas Wayne in a Joker movie, and then he drops out 2 days later.
Yeah.
So that was very short-lived.
Okay, the thing is that when the news broke, it could have been like that Baldwin signed on to the movie at an earlier date, and then just like, whoever broke the news found out about it recently. You know what I mean? and then he could have been signed on for like a month or two, for all we know.
Right.
And then decided to leave. He said due to scheduling conflicts. But it doesn't mean that, like, when the news broke is when he was signed.
Yeah, I don't. I don't understand where the hell DC's going with these things now. I think doing this Joker movie is look. I love Joaquin Phoenix. I think this is a big mistake because it's just going to confuse audiences more. I think that if they wanted to make a clean break, they need to make an announcement, like an official announcement saying we're doing Elseworld stories. And we're just going to have like the worlds of DC and build it in the multiverse.
They did say that, though. They did say that.
Yeah, but they need to promote the shit out of it, because your average viewer is going to want to know, well, is this part of this universe? How come?
Dude, who cares? They're already confused. It doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, but that's a bad thing. That's why Marvel keeps succeeding, because it's a very succinct. You know what you're getting with them. Oh, this character knows this character, and they interacted in this movie. You're going to want to know why the hell, So, in other words, if Jared Leto happens to show back up in another Batman movie, people are going to turn around and say, I thought Joaquin Phoenix was Joker. What happened?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. He probably read the script and was like, nah, I don't want to be in this.
I don't know. Like I said, he could have been signed on for months.
Yeah, true.
And then, it's just
it's funny how he would drop out the minute that the news breaks, though.
Well, no, the news broke, and then he was asked about it, so then he had to address it.
Yeah, true. True.
But he was when he was younger, I thought he would have made a good Bruce Wayne.
I thought he would have been great. Like
Shadow.
When he signed on to do Shadow, right around the same time, or maybe a little bit after, Michael Keaton was to portray Batman. I always thought a young Alec Baldwin would have been. He was Bruce Wayne. He looked like Bruce Wayne.
He looked just like Bruce Wayne in the Shadow.
Yeah, like that was basically him. Like he could rock a tux real good. He had that slick hairdo, the perfect jawline. He's a tall guy. He just needed to put on some muscle, and that your actors, they do that. And I always thought he would have been a good Bruce Wayne. I'm glad we got Michael Keaton. I'm a Keaton guy through and through, but it would have been interesting to see in some kind of like Elseworlds how that would have panned out.
They need to make that Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton as old man Bruce.
There's a big outcalling for that, man. I've seen online that there's like a big, like there's polls and stuff, and people are trying to like fake attach him to that movie and saying like, Tim Burton needs to come back and do either a Batman Beyond or an old man Batman story with Michael Keaton back. If DC really wants to make an impact and kind of like put themselves back on the map, so to speak, that's like kind of the place they need to go. Maybe draw on that nostalgia factor.
Yeah, revisit the first two Batman movies.
Kind of maybe bring some closure to that whole.
That would make oh my God, that would be huge.
Yeah, no, it would be. It would be freaking ridiculous.
So big. But forget that the third and fourth movies existed.
Oh yeah, no, do like what they did with they're doing with Halloween now. Like the newest Halloween movie is pretty much like erasing everything else past Halloween 2. So it's like Halloween 1, Halloween 2, and now this new Halloween movie that's coming out with Jamie Lee Curtis in it, and it's kind of ignoring all the other ones that have come out.
It's ignoring 2, and 2 is really good.
Oh, it's ignoring 2 as well?
Yeah.
Wow, so this is just a direct sequel to the first one.
Yeah.
Wow, that's see.
Dude, I think, oh my God, I think I might have seen 2 with your brother. And I remember being in the theater, and there's, the hot tub scene?
Oh, dude, I don't remember 2 that this is like, I was probably around that age last time I saw it.
All right, it takes place in a hospital at night, and this male orderly or doctor, I'm unsure which, brings a nurse into the hot tub, and he's fooling around with her. And then I think Michael Myers starts putting on he raises the heat all the way up, so they feel the heat going up in the whatever, the hot tub. And then the guy gets up out of the hot tub to go see what's going on, and he's like totally naked, and he like steps over to get out of the hot tub, and you see his balls, and like. Me and your brother were hysterical laughing.
That's the payoff for that whole story, is the fact that you guys got to see his balls and laugh.
And mainstream friggin' movie. Balls, really? So, these huge old man balls. And, we were hysterical. To me, that's the Balls movie. Part 2. And now they're taking that away from, they're striking that from canon. It's fucking wrong. Okay, moving away.
Hard cut. We're going with a hard cut now. We're going to do a hard cut and say that this is a Thundercat toy, and Mattel is doing the Thundercats again. The canceled Thundercat line. This is not it. This is the Bandai. This is the only Lion-O I have.
Oh, okay.
So they're bringing back the canceled Thundercats line, and I think they're going to start it off with. I don't know if they're going to continue the line completely, but they're doing Yago, which was that was like already shown, like he was supposed to already come out, and I forget the other character with the fang. He has like a fang. He's got like a lion kind of type face, but he has like that snaggletooth thing going on. So those are the two figures that are going to be released, and I hope they re-release the ones that already came out, because now that I know I can get a complete set of Thundercat figures, it would be nice to actually be able to get the Lion-O from that line. The reason why I never got the Lion-O from that line was because I knew that it was set for Doom, because that's when they were doing that MattyCollector.com bullshit where you had to sign up for the subscriptions.
Yeah, and this was the end of Masters of the Universe, right? Like that was like winding down also.
Exactly, and I had a feeling like that this is just doomed. So I kind of ignored it, and now they're bringing it back, which is great. But now you're going to have a ton of fans who never went and actually invested in it in the first place. So I'm hoping they get a chance to re-release that Lion-O, because I'd like to upgrade this fellow with that one.
How much is it going for on eBay?
The Lion-O?
Yeah. And,
well, at one point he was going for next to nothing because the line was shit. It was completely defunct. So people were like unloading. They were like, "Yo, we don't want an incomplete Thundercat collection." So they just started unloading this stuff. It basically cost $25-$30. You were able to get them for basically the cost of a Marvel Legend at one point. But now that they're bringing the line back, I'm sure his price must not. I don't want to say through the roof, but I'm sure the price has increased. Because now he's going to be sought after. If you can't get Lion-O, but you're going to have all these new Thundercat toys come out, that's kind of stupid. They really need to re-release those figures and have like a proper kind of return.
Oh yeah.
But if that's the case, I'll definitely be upgrading to that as well. All right, so other news this week: Wesley Snipes is in talk to be Blade again.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, there's two ideas. Supposedly, there's like two ideas he pitched to Marvel. They've been in talks for like the better part of, I believe, like a year and a half or so. And he has two ideas, and it's basically going to come down to like which one they pick, or whichever one they kind of decide to go with. And I don't know. He could be returning in either the movie. I don't think he's going to return the movies, though. I have a feeling they're going to say that's going to go to the Netflix, or whatever this Disney service is, or whatever the hell they decide to. I think he's going to be regulated to like subscription service level character.
It makes sense. Well, the last Blade figure came out in what wave?
The last Marvel Legend you're talking about?
Yeah.
There was like a couple of waves ago. Like 3 waves ago?
That was the Netflix wave.
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe that was a little like foreshadowing.
That would be cool. So anybody in the chat room or anybody that sees this afterwards, you want to see more Blade? You want Wesley Snipes to be Blade? I'll tell you who I don't want to be Blade. Sticky Fingers from Onyx.
Okay.
That's
the worst.
That's who we don't need to play Blade. So I'd rather have old Wesley Snipes than Sticky Fingers.
Oh, he was so uncoordinated, man. I've never seen anybody so uncoordinated in my life.
I don't know where they get that idea from. Like why a studio would go with that. I could see why a publicist would want that to happen. I could see like his publicist saying like, "Yo, we're going to try to get you in the new Blade, and you could probably do the theme music for it or something like that." But I don't understand how a studio can back that.
They should have got Michael J. White, man. At least he's another martial artist.
Yeah, no, that would have made sense. That would have made sense. He's a big dude, man.
The appeal of Blade is that he's a martial artist, that he's got awesome moves. And Sticky Fingers couldn't even throw a proper roundhouse punch. It was terrible. I mean, Wesley Snipes is fifth degree Shotokan karate black belt.
No, he's real deal.
Yeah, man. So yes, try to watch that old Blade series on TV. It's terrible.
Nah, I'd rather just rewatch. Oh, so what was your favorite Blade movie? 1, 2, or 3? And the answer is not 3.
2.
2. Yeah, I like 2 too, man. 2 gets a lot of shit, man. I think 2 is an awesome freaking movie.
That's Guillermo del Toro directing that shit.
No, I know. I've seen a lot of people like, Blade 1, Blade 1, Blade 1. Blade 1 is kind of what like launched it all off, not just the Blade series, but kind of made like superheroes a little bit more legit. I think that was the first movie since Batman and Robin, like the first superhero movie after Batman and Robin to kind of like bring legitimacy to superheroes.
Exactly. And then X-Men after that, but Blade is the first.
I thought Blade 2 was better than Blade 1. It has Ron Perlman in it. Not that that really matters because he does a lot of B movies. I just love Ron Perlman.
The Blood Pack.
The Blood Pack was cool. Any movie, or most movies that have like a cool team of guys in it, or guys and girls, like a two cool team, is usually like Aliens, cool movie, team of guys. Blade 2, team of guys. Alien Resurrection, which I'm not a big fan of the movie, which also has Ron Perlman in it.
Yeah, I know.
Cool team of guys. You know?
Word.
So
Winona Ryder was cool in that too. She played an android.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that, like, a cool team of characters, and then you get to place Agatha Christie with them, like who's gonna die next, kind of, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, they all die one by one.
Pretty much.
But I liked how the Blood Pack they were originally trained to kill Blade, and then they had to team up with him.
Yeah. Oh, he smacks him right. He smacks Ron Perlman right in the face. Shows what's up. But now
who's in that movie too? What's his name? Norman something.
Norman Reedus.
Norman Reedus. Yeah, he looks exactly the same then as he does now. And that was 2002 when that movie came out. He's got the whole emo haircut redneck look, the emo redneck look.
Yeah, so he's a emo redneck vampire.
He's a vampire, yeah, because he looks exactly the same. There's no difference. But I enjoyed the third one too.
I didn't like Blade Trinity at all.
Ryan Reynolds is in it. He plays Hannibal King.
Triple H is in it.
Yeah, Triple H and what's her name? Jessica Biel.
Yeah, Jessica Biel.
Holy shit! I mean,
she really
worked
fine
out
as hell.
Looked great.
I just thought that it was too. After seeing Blade 2, I thought that was a step back because it wasn't as scary. Blade 2 was scary. It had a lot of blood in it. It had a nice amount of gore. It was like
cinematography was better.
Yeah, it was like I felt like watching Blade 3 was like watching like an iPad commercial for like millennials back then. Like, this is the cool new thing. We're gonna have poses with the bow and slow motion and all that.
But with the bow. She played Whistler's daughter.
Yeah.
But you know who plays Dracula in that? Dominic Purcell, I think his name is.
Who's also Heatwave.
Heatwave, yeah.
That's what I hated about the movie. I was like, you got, Goomba from, Morris Park to play, like, come on, the guy with the gold chain and the head, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got like some.
He was like a Euro trash Dracula.
Yeah, it just made no sense to me. But I like him, though. I like the actor now that I've seen him in Legends of Tomorrow. I think he's hilarious. I think that's what he needs to be in.
Right, he's got personality in that.
Exactly. You want to do Dracula, you got to get like who's the guy from Dracula Untold? Because that was a cool ass movie.
Dracula Untold. I forgot his name.
Evan. I don't know. Luke Evans.
Luke Evans. Yeah, he's awesome.
He's awesome, and that movie was mad underrated. That was a cool freaking movie, man.
So, okay. In summation, Blade deserves to be back in the MCU. He started this whole thing. He's the granddaddy of it all.
It's amazing, right? How Blade is actually the granddaddy of the start of all this stuff. It's not Spider-Man. It's not, and that came out of nowhere. That movie. It was like, oh, they're doing Blade,
Mm-hmm.
And it was
I
dope.
think he doesn't get credit because the character isn't well known as a comic book character for most. You know what I mean? People are surprised, like, oh, he's in Marvel Comics. Like, he's not like Blade is mostly known for Wesley Snipes, the movie Blade.
Yeah, it's crazy. That is crazy.
First, yeah.
Well, hey, bring him in, have him square off against Daredevil and John Bernthal's Punisher, and
that would be awesome. Yeah, see, so you're thinking, but then once you relegate him to the Netflix universe, he's not showing up in any of the Avengers movies.
That's just ridiculous too. I see. That's why I don't really like the Netflix shows, because I think they depowered the characters too much, and they made them I don't know, like they need to be incorporated into the mainstay universe. You could have made them street level characters. They don't need to be rocking with the Avengers, but you should have seen them at some point.
Did you see what you call it? Typhoid Mary? How she looks?
Well, she's in the new season of Daredevil.
Yeah, she looks kind of underwhelming.
Yeah.
I mean, the actress who plays her, Alice Eve, is fine, but yeah, there's no really character design there to it. But speaking of action figures, Marvel Legends, they had some reveals in some expo or something. Did you see any of those?
Yes, that's the Canadian Legends, right?
Right. What did you think?
I think Vindicator looks great. They have a Vindicator figure coming out. I thought he looks pretty good, head sculpt wise, because he's pretty much the same character buck that they've been using, So he looks good,
especially since Sasquatch came out not too long ago.
You're gonna actually be able to complete Alpha Flight now, which is nice.
Yes.
You need the female Vindicator too, though. Well, he's Guardian, right? Vindicator's the girl now. Is that how it works?
I don't know, but I've been waiting for a Vindicator for a long time, man.
So he looks good. The best looking one, in my opinion, was the Wolverine. They have the Weapon X Wolverine coming out, an updated version of the Weapon X Wolverine, which is mad long overdue. He looks great.
The old one, it still holds up too, though.
The old one definitely does hold up. Well, just with I don't know. Like it seems like these new Legends, they're kind of updating everybody now, and it's like time for Wolverine. I kind of guess he's been getting his due with the last few waves. They've been releasing newer versions of the Wolverines, so this is like kind of logical to do this, especially since they're trying to finish off Alpha Flight, and he fits right into that storyline. What I don't like is the Wendigo, but then again, apparently I didn't know that the Wendigo changed his look. Not that he changed. They changed his look now, so Wendigo looks different.
Yeah, I didn't like Wendigo either.
Yeah, to me, it didn't really, I like the classic Wendigo look, John Byrne.
I have the classic Wendigo look figure, but that was from the
Hulk, right?
Hulk Wave. Yeah, it's hard to get.
They need to update that version, of the character. I guess they're doing a new version for whatever reason. I mean, the figure looks cool, but it doesn't speak Wendigo to me. It just looks like giant hairy ape guy with big teeth. So,
well, and Mystique, we've needed a old school.
Mystique the Mystique, Mystique head sculpt is awesome. She looks really good. She looks way better than the original Marvel. I remember looking at the original Marvel Legend Mystique and being like, this is kind of a whack figure. She actually looks really dope.
So I mean, we needed those. So yeah, it was a good selection of characters.
She needs to come with a couple of different head sculpts though, or something like a half changed face or something. They gotta kind of like, she's a changeling, so I don't know how the hell they're gonna do that. Because you could always just say, hey, look, Mystique is now Captain America or whatever. You need to figure out. Oh yeah,
give her like a few heads, right?
Yeah, she should come with like 3 heads, like what they did with Multiple Man. You give her the Mystique heads. Obviously, she has to have female head sculpts because it just makes sense because she's got the female body. We kind of look weird with like Professor X's head on her body or something, But I don't know.
What I would want is a first appearance Rogue, and put Rogue with Mystique.
I have a feeling that she's going to be coming out. Well, they just recently did the '90s Rogue, so you're probably going to wind up getting. It seems like they're going back, and it looks like they're trying to like. Especially with this Canadian wave, they're kind of like crossing things off the list now. Instead of making you wait like 2 years, like, okay, we have Alpha Flight we're going to complete. Let's make the Weapon X Wolverine. We have the Mystique coming out. Let's maybe do an old school Rogue figure, Yeah. Then they need to redo Magneto because the last few Magneto figures have sucked.
This last Magneto figure is good, except I don't like the modern outfit, with the black being the base, color of his outfit and highlighted red. I want the old school.
Purple and red, right?
Yeah.
Purple and red would be pretty dope. And then they got to do the variant figure with the when he was running with the X-Men. It was the purple suit with the M on the outfit with the helmet. There's your variant right there. But
we need Dr. Doom, man. We got to finish off that. Fantastic.
Oh, please. Dr. Doom is like the most wanted figure in Mezco, in Hot Toys. He's the most wanted figure now in Marvel Legends. But now that Marvel actually has him, maybe they'll lay off of having like these embargo against. But then again, there wasn't much of an embargo figure-wise, right? Because Walmart has been releasing the Fantastic Four figures one at a time. So I figure they're going to close off that loop with the Doom,
Oh, no. But they only started releasing the Fantastic Four figures once it started, it started coming out that Marvel was going to get the properties back.
Well, yeah, because this is like a year in the making now, almost, right?
Yeah, maybe even longer.
Well, there you go. So now let's get a friggin' Doom that's worthwhile. I want a Mezco Doom, man. I need a Doom with cloth clothes. If they come out with a Doom that has that skirt that he wears, or that like the cape, and it's not soft goods, it's just you're gonna have a statue. Another statue Doom that can't friggin' move. Not that Doom is gonna be doing splits or anything, but you want him to be able to lift his arm without the cape going crooked or something.
Speaking of Mezco, I'm not impressed with the movie figures from Mezco, man. Like, because I've seen pictures of the Wonder Woman that have been, that's being shipped, and the Aquaman, and they're kind of underwhelming, especially for $80, man.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan either. I haven't gotten any Mezco movie-related properties. I'm not a movie TV show collecting guy. If I'm going to collect an actor's likeness, it's got to be this. It's got to be Hot Toys. Otherwise, I want this comic book representation.
Yeah, they should definitely just stick with their own interpretations.
Yeah. No, I'm totally down for that too, because I don't know. I'd rather I don't need a Justice League movie. I know there are people out there that like this, but I don't need for me personal, I don't want a Justice League movie version collection. I want the comic book characters, versions, Speaking of which, they need to do a comic book Wonder Woman as well. They need to get on that pronto. Anyways, okay, let's close this show out. I want to talk briefly about Comicsgate. We can continue this in 2 weeks when we get you back on the show. But I want to talk very briefly about Comicsgate because we have it in the show notes, and give us a rundown of what is Comicsgate and what has gone on in the last week with Comicsgate.
Well, Comicsgate, from my point of view, I would define it as a consumer-driven backlash against the dominance of leftist politics in the comic book industry.
Right now, is it a backlash against leftist politics, or just a bunch of conservatives getting together and saying we don't want leftist policies in our books because we're conservative?
No, it's not. It's people from all different types of ideologies.
Okay,
even liberals. They're just tired of the leftist version being preached in their books. So they're actually trying to find an alternative, way of getting their fix, I guess you would say.
Right. So it's like something like, for instance, we're just going to arbitrarily make Iceman gay now.
Yeah.
Right. Something like that. Or we're going to take a character who was once Caucasian, make him African, take a character that was maybe African and turn him into something else. It's like kind of switching things around just for the sake of shock value to sell books.
Well, activism, yeah, just it's activism over story.
Right. Okay. So you
with some of the people that they hire.
Here's a perfect way you do you have activism in a comic book. Leave it out of my comics for sure. Yeah, Dan writes, leave that out of my comics for sure. Yes, totally. Here's how you do activism in a comic without putting activism in a comic. Okay, there was a story from back in I believe it was the 80s. It was an X-Men comic called God Loves and Man Kills, and it was a political story, one shot. It was politically driven. It had a lot of those persecution of homosexual overtones, and obviously the mutants were kind of like were stand-ins for that, or persecutions of minorities. Either way, and they didn't hammer you in the face with that stuff. It was just kind of like it just seemed like the natural progression of the characters, as far as like, here's a group of people that are ostracized from society and have to deal with the struggles that I guess minorities at the time were dealing with or whatever, but it didn't seem, it was so ham-fisted, you know? So I think that's the way you do it without making it so overly obvious that you're doing something like that just for the sake of shock value.
Right. There was some subtlety to it.
I have no problem with that stuff in my comics. Like Batwoman, for instance. Batwoman is a gay character, and it fits her story. Like, if you read a lot of the new Rebirth, like, I didn't know she was homosexual. I started reading Rebirth, and I was like, oh, Batwoman's gay, but this seems right. It seemed like they handled it the right way in that comic.
Well, now it just seems like that is the main focus. that the creators are thinking that should be the main focus of the books instead of good storytelling.
Right. Well, you just tell a good story, and
Yeah.
it just so happens that this is a part of the story, and then that's how it works, you know? So that's what Comicsgate is. Okay, so Comicsgate is a big black backlash, and something happened this week, right? That kind of I heard about Comicsgate a while back, but it seems like it kind of made a little bit of a resurgence because this Comicsgate thing went down, I believe, not this past San Diego Comic-Con, but the one before that, where Marvel was having a panel, and a lot of the people in the audience were kind of speaking out against all the stuff that was going on, all the leftist. I don't really want to say leftist, but a lot of social justice warrior overtones in their comics, which was hurting their sales. And then Marvel basically gave the big, middle finger to the fans or something like that, and it was like a big backlash about that. I believe. Am I right or wrong in that?
Well, that's the thing too. Is like a lot of the creators they attack the fans on their Twitter accounts. You know, the fans will come at them and tell them like they don't like these changes, they don't like the writing or this or that, and then they'll attack the fans and call them bigots or sexists or racists or you know what I mean. So their PR isn't too great either.
Yeah, no, the PR stuff was a nightmare. I spoke about that on last week's show about the Gamergate stuff that's going on with Battlefield 5. You know, giving this futuristic robotic arm thing to a girl that's now on the front lines in war, and then the guy was like, basically, deal with it, and you're uneducated and you don't know what you're talking about, and then that guy winds up leaving the company a few days later, even though he was like running the company practically as the head game designer for like 12 years.
Yeah.
You know, but so what happened specifically in this past week? I think there's something that went down with like Darwin Cook's wife or something.
Yeah, there was a video made between two of the creators that are involved in Comicsgate, and they were talking about Darwin Cook, and they both knew him. And one of them was actually friends with him, and one of them mentioned that Cook might have been associated or would have been down with Comicsgate, and then that got out to the wife, and then she just blew up on Twitter and started attacking everyone. She started calling every people involved with Comicsgate every name in the book.
Right.
And then they spun the story because she did get some backlash. They spun the story as if Comicsgaters are attacking a widow. You know what I mean? So she became the victim.
Well, I read a lot of the tweets recently, actually right before the show. I read a lot of her tweets. And, she has a right to feel however she feels. She is a widow, and she was involved. She was, like, heavily involved in Darwin's life, and she probably knew him best. However, and maybe I only got a small sampling of the tweets going back, but it didn't seem like anyone was really attacking her from the articles I was reading. I read two different articles. This wasn't just one article. I read 3 different publications. One from Bleeding Cool News. One from there was 2 or 3 publications, and one of them was a YouTube video. And obviously, they could be omitting things on purpose because I wasn't part of the Twitter feed. But it didn't seem like anyone was really attacking as much as they were saying, like, "Hey, like, chill out. Like, it's okay."
Yeah,
like,
they were over exaggerating the attacks. I thought. Most of the attacks were coming from the widow. Exactly, she was being very aggressive.
Didn't one of the comics creators of Marvel or some artist take a picture of his butthole and send it to somebody, to Ethan Van Sciver or something like that?
Was it Robbie Rodriguez? Yeah.
Robbie Rodriguez. Who and what is he known for?
He's the co-creator of Spider Gwen.
Yeah, Spider Gwen. The co-creator of Spider Gwen took a picture of his innards.
Yeah, and
tweeted it. So why does
Ethan Van Sciver? Yeah,
but why does Van Sciver come under such fire? I have to find a few interviews with this guy because I met Ethan, and he was one of the coolest friggin' dudes in the industry.
Yeah, you met him once. I met him twice, and both times he was awesome.
Like, he's very cool, respectable to the fans. It seems like he was down. He even there was a little story attached real quick. He was supposed to draw me a Green Lantern. And he was like, "Hey, how do you want him? How do you want me to pose him? You want him flying? You want him like this, like that? Hey, you a fan? Hey, thanks for buying the comics." He was very cool and interactive, and he was actually like putting himself out, not just like, "Oh, okay, yeah, give me your money and I'll draw you something." So I give him the money, It turns out I'm not going to be there the next day, and my wife is waiting out in the car. This is like hours later, and he must have got bogged down with a lot of different sketches he had to do. So I went back up to him, and I was like, "Yo, Ethan, you have my sketch?" And he was like, "Yo, I didn't get to it yet." He's like, "You're going to be here tomorrow." I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm actually leaving right now. My wife is out in the car, yada, yada, yada." So Ethan's like, "Hey, man, like, here, take your money back. Like, don't worry about it. Like, it's all good." So he gives me the money back, and I guess this was before they were doing like mailings, like where he would like a lot of these creators now, like if they get like 20 sketches to do and they can't get to you, they take the sketches home with them and they'll sketch it for you and then they'll mail it to you in the mail. But he gave me the money back and I was like, dude, I really don't want the money back. Like I kind of wanted the sketch, but I appreciate the fact that like you're giving this back to me and all that. He's like, hey man, don't worry about it. He's like, eventually you'll see me at one of these other things and you come up to me, you let me know and I'll draw you like the coolest freaking Green Lantern you've ever seen. He was mad freaking cool about it. And he was understanding, gave me the money back. I didn't even really I was like, oh, dude, I got to leave. And he was like, you know what? I'm not going to get to it. Here, take your money back. And the next time you see me, remind me. But this was going back years ago because I haven't even seen him in a comic since then. I haven't seen him at a comic convention. So, like, are people on the in this industry actually, like, not inviting these guys? Like, not inviting them back? Like, why are these guys not doing more appearances and stuff?
Up until now, they've the conservatives and the comic book industry has had to tiptoe around the dominant leftist people in the industry. So, what Ethan did was when his DC contract expired, he didn't go back. He left, and he did a Kickstarter for his own creator-owned character, Cyberfrog. And so far up, I mean, you could actually, you could. He opened it up donations today for about a week, so you could order it now. It's called Cyberfrog, and he's got almost $500,000 raised.
That's incredible. You know what though? Good for him.
One issue. Yeah.
Good for him. Well, first of all, he's an amazing artist. I mean, he pretty much revitalized Green Lantern and Flash with the help of Jeff Johns. I mean, when I think of Jeff Johns, I think of the two of those guys almost in tandem because they work together so much. They took the DC universe and brought it like all these other characters. I always loved. Again, we're both DC guys. They took these old characters that were kind of sitting dormant for a while and just created like some of the most awesome stories. So good for him. Good for him. Not that he thumbed his nose at the industry, but good for him to be able to go and do something like that and make this kind of money and go out on his own. I mean, in the modern day, you're able to do that. If you become prolific and get your name out there, you can do something like that now, and it's great.
So that's $500,000 from one issue of a 4-issue series.
That's crazy, right? You could pretty much do that and then like retire.
Yeah,
you make $500,000 an issue. I'll take 4 issues for $2 million, and I'll see you later. I'll put that. I'll pay off my mortgage, put the rest in the bank, and live off the residuals for the rest of my life. Holy shit! Well, good for him, man. He was a nice guy to us, so I give him mad props. So good on that. All right,
but now everybody in the industry is putting out tweets. Comicsgate is a hate movement. It's
I haven't seen any hate from it. I don't understand that at all. It's a hate. I have a feeling it's a hate movement the same way a lot of these. And I'm not going to say. I don't want to use the terms that they're using in the media for the fake news and all that other stuff. But it seems like a death rattle coming from the industry. Like they're going to see him succeed, and then they're going to see all their other artists and writers go and do this with their own creations, just the way Image did, and pretty much left Marvel and DC in the dust for a while. When Image when Image came out, it seems like now all these artists can be their own version of what Image was because of the modern
another
technology.
version of Image. Yeah.
To shake the industry up, and it seems like this is like the death rattle of like the industry going like the big two, Marvel and DC, come back. We need. We're just gonna bash them.
The industry's already suffering, and it's like, and now you're like cutting your customer base in half by just putting all this SJW stuff. So I'm not even I'm online looking at comics. I'm buying digital, so I'm not even buying what you call it physical comic books anymore.
Right.
So, you're losing money. You're losing, in that area. So now you're cutting your customer base off by half.
Yeah.
It's just they need to curb their creators, activity on Twitter. They really do.
Yeah,
Like
no,
the
totally.
artists
I
and
understand
writers,
that.
because they're really turning off customers. It's a bad business model.
You know they're going to double down on it, and they're going to keep doubling down until it really bites them in the ass, and then they'll turn around and I don't know what the hell they're going to do. But I know they're not going to go under. That's one thing's for sure. I don't think that Marvel or DC are in any danger of going under or anything like that. They are a company. They're still a corporation. They're going to do what's best for the corporation and for the shareholders in the end. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, this is what they're going to do. You know,
like well, I'll tell you what. Marvel, the MCU is so lucky that they're getting X-Men and Fantastic Four at this point, because it looks like the Avengers is over with.
Well, yeah, all the actors are gone pretty much. Yeah. They're pretty much done. So this is gonna be that. But you know what? Here's a good thing to hold them off for the next 10 years. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have the X-Men, you have the Fantastic Four, and then you can do exactly. You could do X-Men versus Fantastic Four, which would be great. I mean, look, the stories go on forever and stuff. You know. And I'm going to be there. I'm going to still be there paying because Marvel knows how to make friggin' movies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Meanwhile, in the books, they're pushing characters like Squirrel Girl and Ms. Marvel and all this stuff, and nobody's into that.
Well, look, if you guys still buy Marvel comics or into this type of stuff, make a comment under this video if you happen to actually get this far into the broadcast, and let us know what you guys like or not like about this type of stuff. If you guys are into this new thing that they're doing with comics, write a comment. Let us know, so we can address it on maybe the next episode. And if you kind of fall on the side of Comicsgate and not really feeling this too much, drop a comment and let us know how you feel about that, because apparently these days you can't do anything without being politicized, and we do not want to turn this into a political fight or an argument. This is more about us getting together as a community.
Yeah, this is my opinion, man. I'm not going to fence it and try to please everybody, because you can't. So this is just my viewpoint.
Well, I'll tell you what I did. Yeah. I went and bought Jeff Johnson's run on JSA, and I got pretty much this entire run. So I'm going to go back and read those.
Yeah, it's some of my favorite comics.
Speaking of comics, before we wrap this up, I'll be looking at this in a review coming up. It's called A Taste for Killing. It's by Nicole Jelinek. She does the art and the writing for it. And this is basically a modern-day Tales from the Crypt. So if you like horror stuff, I feel as though there's a big gap in the industry as far as horror goes. And this is a throwback to the old Tales from the Crypt and or Tales from the Dark Side type stuff. And here's a quick shot of the inside artwork. If you guys can see that, her art is very reminiscent of Mark Silvestri, and she does about one a year, and then she has submissions from other creators and other artists and stuff. She has them submit artwork based on the type of book it is. This is issue number 6, so she's been doing this for about 6 years. And this issue number 6 is A Taste for Killing. I got an interview with her at the last con, so go back. No, don't go back anywhere yet because I didn't post it yet. So the next video that I'll be posting in the next 2 days is my interview with her, my review of A Taste for Killing. But I did an interview with her about 20.
Warning though, before you watch the interview, she is not an attractive woman. She's very unsightly, so don't mind her appearance.
Apparently you have cataracts, so says Miss Bell. No, she is pretty easy on the eyes, but she's got very good artwork, and I just enjoy the stories. I really enjoy this horror kind of crazy. Each story has its own little twist, and I'm on issue 6, so I'm going to be reading that and doing the review. So catch that and contact her, Nicole Jelinek Art, on Facebook. Just type that in if you guys are into horror comics and stuff like that. She does commissions, and she'll also send you her issues over the mail. You contact her, say, hey, I want to buy this. Or you can go into your local comic book store and ask for this, because I believe she gets distribution through previews. I'm not sure, though. But your comic shop can contact her as well and order from her directly, because she also self-publishes.
Real quick, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the NECA movie figures. They went up for pre-order last weekend. Did you get in on it or what?
No, that was the pre-orders came in, and that was for
GameStop.
The GameStop, right? The GameStop movie.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. There's a reason why. I've been throwing this idea around in my head. I already have the Turtles from the 2012 cartoon. That cartoon that I'm like obsessed with. Yeah. I have those figures. They're the Revoltech versions. Those are going to be my Turtles that are in my collection because I have such a deep connection to that series from watching it with my son, and just they're just great designs and they're great figures altogether. However, I have an even bigger connection with the Turtle movie figures from when I was a kid, but I'm only going to have one set of Turtles. There's only room for one set of Turtles in my collection, and I'm going to stay with the cartoon guys. I'm going to pass up on these figures, but I may pick one up to do a review on, just to check it out and see what the articulation and stuff is like. But they do look really freaking nice. I mean,
I picked them up. I had to. I love that first movie.
No, the first Ninja Turtle movie is fantastic. Yeah. I mean, it was really, really very well done for the time, especially.
Hey, did you know that
That's the second movie. She's singing the Vanilla Ice song now in the background. That was the secret of the use when they stopped using their weapons because some kid stabbed his mother thinking he was Leonardo.
I'll show you the secret of the use.
Oh Christ. That's the first movie. Heroes in a Half Shell. We're on a mission.
Do it. Go on.
I know the rap. I don't know the whole thing.
Do you know it?
Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Donatello make up the crew with one other fellow, Raphael. He's the leader of the crew, transformed from the norm with the nuclear goop. Pieces the food that's sure to please. These fellas are into pepperoni and cheese.
That's the best line. That's the line.
Yeah, no, that's it. We're gonna end it. We're gonna end it there. We're gonna end it with the rap. Don't go anywhere, Baz. I'm gonna stop the broadcast. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Remember to subscribe. Drop comments. We want comments. We need you guys to come in and drop the comments so we have something to talk about on the following episode. Let us know what you guys like. Let us know what kind of figures you'd like to see. What kind of songs you want me to rap. I actually have a small, very, 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 very small career as a rapper as well. That was years ago. Anyways, so let us know. Let us know what you think. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. Unfortunately, Baz won't be with us. He'll be with us in 2 weeks. So we'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Baz, don't go anywhere. I want to talk to you after the broadcast. We'll see you later, everybody. Thanks for joining. Puberty.